So true. We have some employers that have jobs. Also, the Jersey Mike's calls came in so fast, we'll give away. So now we'll give 2 callers 4 subs. 2 callers, 4 subs at 298-5487 on Job Talk 1. 298-5487. Each caller will get 4 subs at their favorite Jersey Mike's. All right, our show brought to you by Pools by Ben. I keep saying it every week. Don't even fool around. Don't even call another pool company. You're just wasting your time. You know you're going to fire them in 6 months. You will never fire, Tommy. Fire. Pools by Ben. And, of course, Lisa's Tax Service has been a long-term sponsor of the show. Lisa's Tax Service, she can represent you in front of the IRS if it goes to that. But like the coach, love the IRS. Pay your taxes on time. Call Lisa's Tax Service. And like I said earlier, our new friend LA Dodgers Report, go to LADodgersReport.com. Over 110,000 people every month, and those are our listeners. So also I want to welcome from New York City. Her name is Regina Fang. And Regina, you listen to our show on a regular basis, and you actually have a question, and you listen to our show in New York. I love it. What's your question?
I'd like to learn more about kind of, what the networking process is in terms of, when it comes to finding a job. I know that, reaching out to people and such, it gets a little difficult when you're, trying to figure out what all these job titles mean. So, what is the best way to go about that? Well,
first of all, you sound like a very smart young lady, so congratulations. Your voice is great. Your syntax is great. I'll give you my answer. And then my partner, Tommy Cairns, as most of our listeners know, was the HR Director for Homeland Security. 230,000 people reported to him, and also for 18 years, he headed up the NBC Studios HR department. Also the author of a book. Everybody should get this book. It's pricey. A little pricey. It's $1,000 a copy. It's called All Systems Go. You can buy it on Amazon. And, of course, when you go to Amazon, they're going to knock down the price, but go check it out, All Systems Go. All right, so my answer, Regina, is, first of all, the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. The worst thing you can do when you're out of work is you're desperate, there's emotional issues, you're under pressure, there's stress. If you're in a job and you're listening to my voice, get ready, get prepared. Do things like practicing in front of a mirror, smiling, practicing answer questions, ask a parent, a friend, anybody to challenge you. Look, the number one thing I talk about all the time, and I say it to my kids, I say it to my grandkids, your likability factor has to be extremely high. We hire people we like, we keep people we like, we promote people we like. So if you're a little shy, if your likability factor is lacking, and you know whether or not your likability is factor, because at the end of the day, people who are likable tend to have more self-confidence. So work on your self-confidence. And if you're in a particular industry, Regina, do your research. Who are the top 10 companies? Who are the best employers? What are the opportunities? And like our previous guest, Howard Harris, the Boulders Resort in Scottsdale, said, when he networks, or when he did network, he would find out where the executives hung out. I thought that was pretty cool. That's not something I did, but I would do it over again. Find out where they have lunch. Find out where they're having a cocktail at night. Try to meet them in their comfort zone. Walk up and introduce themselves. I understand you're with NBC Studios. My name's Coach Tunick. Just want to say hi. Here's my resume. I don't want to bother you. Can I follow up with you sometime next week? So, Tommy, that's my take on it. My take simply is become more likable. Learn how to smile, learn how to answer questions, and as Howard said, sparkle.
Sparkle is great. I think you mentioned a couple things that are also very helpful from the standpoint that now when you are employed is the best time to look. It's the time to research, think about the various companies you might like to be a part of, but it's also one where companies are actually looking for individuals that aren't looking for jobs. So they're looking for that passive candidate. And so it's an opportunity for you to make sure, one, have a great social presence on LinkedIn, because there are employers constantly going through and looking for talent that way. And it's also something that I would say that I didn't do very well when I was employed, was I avoided going to networking type meetings that might be in the particular discipline that I worked in. So in HR, there were plenty of HR networking
but somehow you Regina, I'm just going to jump in on your time here, your question, then I'm going to ask you a question. But I'm going to interview you maybe next week. Somehow you've done something right in your life. You were always well employed, and I'm curious, not today, but maybe next week. You were always well employed. So I'm talking about Tommy Cairns, Regina. He was always well employed. What was his secret sauce? So tune in next week, and we'll find out why he's done better than most people in their life. Regina, let me ask you a question. Moved to California. I need somebody to go into sales. You got a cute voice. You speak well. There's a couple of companies out there looking for people in sales. You ever thought about sales, getting in sales?
Not really. I actually work pretty closely with the sales team here, and it's pretty interesting to be able to kind of see the way that they're able to spin things and really kind of...
Salespeople spins things? Regina, come on, girl. Let me give you my employer's number, 805. Write this down, Regina. If you decide to move to California, it's 72 degrees here, low humidity, area code 805. 358-6090, 805-358-6090. If you know somebody that wants to get into sales, I've got a number of companies. Some of them really pay well. So it was a great question. Did one of us answer it or give you a partial answer, I hope?
Yeah, definitely. I think that one of the things in New York that New York really emphasizes is networking, and I'm always looking for, advice on how to improve that. So, yeah, thank you very much.
What's your hobby? You have a nice voice. I would get rid of Tom Cairns in a heartbeat and get you as my co-host. It's really. What's your hobby? What do you do in New York? Are you in New York City? I love New York City. Are you in Manhattan?
Yeah, I am. I'm in Manhattan, and I work in Midtown.
And do you take a subway?
I actually walk to work. Look, I'm one of the lucky ones who gets to kind of, cut the New York subway and just walk to work.
God, it's the most amazing city in the world. I mean, it's like Las Vegas on steroids. It is just the noise, the people, the culture, and people are nice. I mean, I don't know how New York ever got away. There's some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, right there in Manhattan. Just nice, and the food, unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely the perk of living here, and I do agree with you. I think that if you kind of look deep enough, there are really, really great people here in the city.
So, what's your hobby, girl? What's your hobby?
My hobby. My hobby has a tendency to kind of still gear towards that media realm. Like, I love, watching movies and, doing my research on kind of the different aspects of media and, how its ability to kind of positively influence people. So that's kind of what I spend a lot of my spare time
Okay, last question. I'll let you go. And thank you for listening to the show, Job Talk 1, and listening in New York. You can listen on, which Regina does, on hometownstation.com. Or how about jobtalk1.com? You can listen to the show. So I'm curious, fun job. So I posted on Facebook today, what are the fun jobs in America? So one of my Facebook buddies said he wanted to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I get that. I would love to have that. What would be a fun job for you? Seriously, a fun job.
A fun job? I think that, having spent some time in the YouTube realm as well, I think a fun job for me is creating the content that can, positively influence people and kind of bring happiness to the world. And I think that the best way to do that, in my mind, is media, just because of its ability to influence millions of people like this show.
There's a guest we're going to have on the show when you're talking, Regina, about YouTube. He does some of his own filming, and what was interesting, he'll tell people how he does it, and believe it or not, his teleprompter is an iPad. So it's just it's a fascinating world that you can create your own content, and all you need is an iPad and a camera. There you go.
Well, Regina Fang, thank you for being a listener of Job Talk 1. Thank you for calling in, and love to have you call in any time and be a part of the show. Thank you so much from New York
No
City.
problem. Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
day. Thank you so
You
much.
too.
Bye-bye.
So she has her voice is great. I mean, her syntax is great, and you can just tell she's an upbeat person. I'd hire her in a heartbeat. If she ever, if
She's
you're
in New
still
York,
listening,
so
you
she's
want to
got
come to
the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And energy. It's interesting you bring up that word. That's the word that I use. I've hired hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. That's the one thing I look for in somebody. I look for, you have a good energy level. And a lot of people, their energy level doesn't come out. I don't get it. I mean, if you're in an interview process or a conversation and you're just sitting there like a wet piece of bread, what happened to you?
Right.
What's wrong?
And we were talking earlier with Howard about people not being comfortable being with others and being an introvert. At least half of the world are introverts, but that does not mean you can't be interesting.
I wonder if I think I'm an introvert. Really, I turn on when I come on the radio, but I'm a quiet person. I'm in the real world. I'm very quiet, somewhat shy. But as soon as the microphone turns on, I'm exciting.
You know what? I share that too because I'm an introvert, and one of the struggles I have is I also teach, so I'm in front of a class.
I was a teacher,
and I'm fulfilling a role. That's how I get through. Sometimes my teaching is I'm there as a teacher. I'm not me.
Yeah.
I'm somebody else. So that's how I overcome that. And I think that's what Howard was saying too. You have to work for ways to get out of yourself or out of your comfort zone to be able to present yourself to people.
It's not easy, and I think what frustrates me. Don't forget Jersey Mike's. We have the caller. Thank you from Canyon Country because they have a store over there. If you want 4 Jersey Mike's, 298-5487. We only have 4 more sandwiches left to give away. Otherwise, I'll eat them. I need to
make a phone call.
Yeah. 298-5487. 298-5487. If you want 4 Jersey Mike's. Otherwise, it's gone for today, and I'll take them home and eat them. When you look at energy, let's stay on energy for a second. A lot of, let me come from a different direction. If you don't understand what it takes to get employed, if you don't understand what an employer is to me, an employer is looking for that person that's going to make a difference. Would you agree to this?
Yes, absolutely.
So that difference has to be, I think, in 3 areas. 1, tell the employer how you're going to help them make a profit. I want to hear that. How are you going to help me? So that means that you, as the candidate, better do some research on my company, right? Or research on me. I interviewed somebody this morning, actually, a very nice young man, and he didn't do much research on my company or me. Even though he was a nice guy, I'm going to give him another shot because I don't want to go into the specifics of the interview, but he showed some interest in something that I'm interested in. So we started the conversation, and then he opened up like this flower. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Up until that, and I'm the one that generated the question.
Right.
You would have thought he would have generated the question, right?
Yeah.
So listening to Job Talk 1, Tommy Cairns and the coach, and we're going to be on every day. We're also going to help you get jobs in the mall. KHTS has a booth.
Yes.
And one of these days, I can't tell you, we'll tell you maybe next week when we're going to show up. And we're going to be able to, in person, get your resume and help you get a job. We will help. We know the employers. We're out on the street talking to people. So if you're looking for a job and you've had a hard time finding one, we're a couple of good guys to talk to. And you can call in just like Regina did, 298-5487. We just gave away the last Jersey Mike, so tough luck there. Sorry you missed it. But every week we're going to give away Jersey Mikes, so we just gave enough subs away today. 298-5487. If you have a question, or you're looking for a job, or you have a family member looking for a job, and you have a question, is it next week or the week after, we're bringing somebody on that does resumes, which I don't believe in.
No.
And you believe in resumes, don't you?
Well, it's a necessary evil. So I think, yes, you have to have a resume.
But even like our first guest, Howard, he would rather meet you in person.
I think Howard is the exception in a lot of ways, which is refreshing. Howard's the type of person,
because he's a people person.
I could say I would want to go to work for, and like he said, I enjoyed individuals that found me as well. And sometimes when you're in a large corporation, it's a maze, for people to locate you. And anytime I would get a phone call that would come through and somebody was looking to just talk about jobs or any sort of thing within NBC, I would take that call and just try to encourage them, because somehow they found me, and I wasn't necessarily the easiest person sometimes.
Did you hire anybody famous? Did you hire give me some of the NBC? Katie Couric.
Actually,
did you hire her?
No, I hired. When I say I hired, I was part of the hiring process of David Bloom, who unfortunately lost his life. No, he lost his life in
David Bloom
in the Gulf War. One of the NBC reporters.
Okay.
There's now I'm going blank for a couple other people that.
Yeah, I was thinking of David's something else for NBC. But so who hires the Katie Courics of the world and the Matt? What's Matt's name?
Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer. Who hires them? Not you guys.
Not HR might be somewhat involved in that, but there was always a talent individuals that would be on-air representation or our on-air talent. Those individuals, they would be screened through a lot of other different ways, and occasionally I would get involved in that.
When we get back from break, you're listening to Job Talk 1. You wrote this book called All Systems Go. I want to ask, I'm curious about one thing in this book. I read the book. I couldn't put it down. It was easy to read. I mean, for me, it was easy to read because I'm interested in this subject. Obviously, you and I host a show called Job Talk 1 here in KHTS, AM 1220 in Southern California. Don't forget, the best radio app. And today, God bless whoever the programmer is there, playing more country music. I mean, really, I'm gonna talk to the owner of the station. I know him personally. I think if they convert the music to country music, they'd blow this station up. I mean, in a positive way. Be right back on JobTalk1.com. Bonefish Grill. I'm telling you what, their dinners, we had lunch there last week. It's just clean, nice atmosphere. The food is fresh. Bonefish Grill there in the town center mall, in the shopping mall.
Yes.
Yeah, really nice people. Our show is called Job Talk 1. Tommy Cairns and the coach. And Tommy's the expert in the whole field of careers, employment. I'm learning about it. I'm the attractive one of the two of us. If you go to YouTube, you can watch our show, and our shows are all podcast every night. And sorry for those of you that just called in. We already gave away the Jersey mics, so tune in next week. I'm going to give a lot of Jersey mics away. 298-5487. Write the number down, and then next week you won't be upset because you missed the call, okay? So Tommy writes this book, All Systems Go. You can buy it on Amazon. Tom Cairns, C-A-I-R-N-S, C-A-I-R-N-S, that's the author. All Systems Go. I read it, and I would not recommend a book if I didn't read it, but I would not recommend a book that didn't help you. So if you're looking for a job, let me say this to you. If you're looking for a job, call me. Call me at this number, 805-358-6090, and you better be able to speak properly. 805-358-6090. And you better have sparkle and energy in your voice. So Tommy, one of the things in your book that I underline, you underline, it's interesting, I yellow highlighted, tell a story. So if you're looking for a job, you better have a story. I want to hear your little sad story. Right?
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the things that I really enjoy about meeting people is everybody has a story. And when I read your book, you got a little bit of behind the scenes look of what influenced you, and that same thing is true for everyone, and it's always something a little unique. But I also think that a lot of our lives intersect in a lot of different ways, things that we may have experienced in our childhood or growing up, or that impressed us and influenced us, and it's fun to see those things when it resonates and you identify with that, but then also to see what happened in their life that helps put them on a trail or a track that that was of interest to them. Especially, I enjoy when people that are in business, or they have their own companies, or they have other things they're doing. How did they get into that? And
I was always asked the question, tell me about yourself. So I'd always lead with, I didn't have a father as a foster kid. And as soon as I would say that, which is true, and it was, I had a hard early life. I did. And I had a lot of issues, chip on my shoulder as a fighter and stuff like that. But people, they would respond to my story, and they would want to give me a shot. They'd want to give me a chance. And,
Sure.
and I was lucky that I had a lot of really great bosses. Dean Dorn, my first boss, Dick Mayo. Because I didn't have a father, they mentored me. I was really lucky. I was telling somebody the other day that I never wanted to believe that luck was such a big part of one's life.
And you meant that question, tell me about yourself, is something that is asked probably virtually every single interview, and most people are not prepared for that question. You've already thought about, this is what I'm going to share, and some try to create it spontaneously and think that that's what's going to work. But really, what will work is knowing the message that you want to convey, and you had a hook there that caught somebody's interest and said, hey, you know what, I want to pursue that, and that's what you want.
And you got to put your heart and soul into it. The show is called Job Talk 1. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the emails. Thanks for the texts. JobTalk1.com. Check it out. We'll see you down the road on KHTS here in Southern California.